Okay, welcome programmers. So today I have a tutorial on arrays again. If you actually notice in my channel, I have quite a few array tutorials already. Tutorials like printing elements in an array and loading random values in an array and others. But today we're going to be looking at copying arrays from one array to another. Now there are some ways that you can do this now, but there is a wrong way that people might think is I guess a valid way of copying an array from one, copying values in an array from one array to another, but it's actually a wrong way. So I'm just going to demonstrate the wrong way of doing it, and then we'll look at the right ways to actually copy values. So now, for instance, you can go ahead and create your class and your main method, and create a basic array like this. You can name the array whatever you want. Make sure you give it simple values like I have done here. Now what we're going to do is over in the next line, you go ahead and create another array. So I want to create name this array copy for simplicity, and then I'm just gonna say new int. So the length, I'm gonna pass it a length. Now its length is going to be the length of the array first, because I want to copy the values and I want them to be exact. So array first dot, I want them to be the exact length. I do not want any issues while compiling. So okay, so we have this. So you'd think that if you haven't been programming for a while, you think that this is a proper way, or wait, you'd think that first of all, calling array copy, which is the one we want to move the values to, and then assigning it to, or rather assigning array first to array copy in this way. And then let's run a simple for loop. I is less than array like this. Okay, simple like that, and then we have to. Okay, so this is good. So now if we want to actually check the values in the array, so supposedly it is the wrong way of doing it, but if we actually run it, it will work. It will actually show us that that yes, or that somehow it has copied the values over. So let's just check and see the values over in an array copy. So let me compile this. Okay, so then now I'm just going to run this, bring it up here, and you can see it that it has, whoa, it has actually copied the arrays, or you'd think that it has actually copied the arrays from array first over to array copy, but that actually is not true. You see, what we actually want is to actually copy these values over to array copy here. But what's happening in this case when we do this is that it is actually just taking the reference, or this array first reference, and passing it over to array copy. So array copy doesn't necessarily have these values. All it has is a reference to them. So if I was to go to array first and change these values, you would see that that change will also recur, or will also occur in array copy, and then we would have problems with our code, basically, depending on what you're doing. So if I was to change something over in array first, let's array first like this, maybe the first element, I can go ahead and change the first element to, I don't know, change it to 100, and stop that, and then compile again. So you see, we already copied the array, and we've changed the first array to 100. If we really copied it, this 100 should not appear when we iterate through array copy. But let's run it and see what happens. So now you see this value has actually occurred, because actually we have now learned that array copy is not really copying the array, but actually it's just a reference to this particular array, just as array first is a reference to these array values location. So let me just go ahead and stop this. So now what we want to do is that we actually want to use the proper way of copying arrays. So the first method that I'm going to go ahead and erase this, or I can leave this one down here. We would use it for testing, just to make sure that arrays are actually being copied. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just gonna do, okay, let me just put a comment here, and I'm just gonna say for loop method, because this for loop method is the for loop method of copying an array, proper way of copying array values. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to write another array, but just to save time, I can just copy this guy since it's pretty much the same. Instead of array copy.length, I'm just going to say array st first. So in case we ever change something, it wouldn't really affect the way the loop works. System.out.println, we don't need this. We don't need to actually print any element. All we need to do is that we just need to say array copy, and I, which is the first the values that are going to be iterating to our second array, and then we just simply pass in the values of array first, like this, and this should properly copy the values from array first here over to array copy. So let's compile this and see what happens. Okay, and run it. Well, now you actually see that even though we changed array first, but the change has not affected the second array or array copy, because we have actually copied it instead of actually just creating a reference like we did the previous way. So yeah, that is one way to actually copy array. This is the for loop method. So I'm just gonna erase this now, and then there's another way to do it, which is using the special method that comes from the java.lang.system class, which is a method called array copy, which simply allows us to just use a method and passing a few parameters, and then we should be able to copy the arrays easily. So all we have to do, we'll actually have to import something here. So import lang.system like this. So we have imported this now, and then what we're going to do, let me just say array copy method. So this is the array copy method. So what we're going to be doing for this method now is that, yeah, we're just gonna say system, which we've imported here, dot array, and okay, it's a small letter actually, array copy. And then what we're going to be doing here is we're gonna pass the source array, which in this case is array first, the values that where we're going to be getting the values. So we're going to be getting the values from array first. Now where do we actually want to begin our copying? So we want to start from the very first element here, which is 12. So we want to start copying from 12, not 3, not 4, not 2, but from 12 here, judging by the index. And then where do we want to copy the array to? To array copy, obviously. That's why its name is array copy. We're giving array copy name for that reason. And then yeah, we're just gonna say where do we actually want to start copying. So we've started copying here, but where at which index do we now want it to start I guess being copied over to the next array? So maybe with this array could have had values already. Maybe we could have started index 7, maybe 8, but in this case this array is empty. We want it to start from the very beginning. We just go ahead and put 0. And then how many elements do we want to copy? I know we've already passed in the index where we want to begin here and where we want to begin for this guy here, but now it's how many do we want to. Obviously we're beginning here, but do we want maybe 3 values? Do we want 4? Do we want 5? Do we want all of it? Since we want all of to copy everything, we are just going to say array first.length, which is the length of values. Everything is going to be copied over, or we would hope. So yeah, this is the array copy method. So let's compile it and see what happens, and then we run it, and then voila. So yeah, everything's working well. Okay, so yeah, the values are still here. So even you can see this change has been done here, but it hasn't affected the second array in any way. So now we're gonna do the I guess the third method, which is the simplest one. We're going to be using the clone method. If you're familiar with interfaces, you know about the clone the clonable interface, but you're probably not familiar with that, but you don't need to know that to use this method. I'm just gonna go ahead and erase this now, and this is the clone. This is the clone method, and in the clone method, all you need to do is we do not even need to do this. All you're just gonna do is when you first initializing, or when you're first declaring your array, you're just gonna go ahead and you're gonna say, hey, look, I don't want to waste any time. All I want to do is I just want to clone this guy right here. I just want to clone him. So you're just gonna say array first dot clone like this. This is all you need to do. You do not need to include anything whatsoever. Okay, and then so we should be good. So we go ahead and compile that. Okay, and it has compiled successfully, and as you can see, we have it here. So that is it, guys. So thank you very much for stopping by. Subscribe, like the video, comment below if you have any problems with this. Thank you very much.